But I'm going to talk to you today about the Find Mike campaign by Johnny Benjamin and Rethink Mental Illness. This is Johnny Benjamin. He's 26 years old, and on January 2008, he tried to jump from London's Waterloo Bridge because he was struggling to cope with a schizophrenic disorder. But he was stopped by a passerby who helped to change his mind and saved his life. Since that moment, Johnny's life has changed completely, but he never had the chance to thank the Good Samaritan for what he did that January morning. So exactly 6 years after the incident, he started a campaign to find the man who had saved him so that he could thank the stranger. He named the search Find Mike because he'd forgotten the man's name.
A man is searching for the kind stranger who persuaded him not to jump off a bridge exactly 6 years ago.
His words actually prompted my recovery. Now I need your help to find him.
What did you say to him if you've seen him?
I don't know. Thank you.
The calls were just coming in all the time.
This guy could be my Mike.
It was the worst point in my life, and so I've got to go back there. People have said, is it all in your head? And no, he wasn't. I know he wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched that several times in preparation for this and I still get chills. It was a multi-channel campaign launched with video appeal, and if I can move the slide, there we go, with a video appeal by Johnny. Its hashtag, Find Mike, soon took off and trended on Twitter in the UK, Australia, and even South Africa. And Johnny's story was shared by thousands on social media. Meanwhile, Johnny was giving national and international interviews from the BBC to CNN and Australian breakfast television. Celebrities including Stephen Fry and Boy George tweeted their support, and even the Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg backed the campaign. In the first day, there were 44,000 tweets using the Find Mike hashtag. Soon, different Mikes began coming forward saying that they were the stranger from the bridge. But with Johnny having little recollection of the encounter, the detective work began, and he started working through the leads, speaking to them and meeting them. But alongside this search for Mike, Johnny met other people affected by the campaign, including a young woman whose twin brother had lost his own life by jumping from a bridge in London. She wanted to get an insight into what he'd been through, and she wanted to thank Johnny for the work he was doing to raise awareness of the biggest killer of young men in the UK. But one of the people who came forward was Mike, otherwise known as Neil. He was the right guy. His girlfriend had seen the campaign on Facebook, and it had been shared by her friends, and she said, oh, this rings a bell, this sounds like the story you told me a few years ago. And she alerted him, and they'd found Mike in less than 2 weeks. The reunion video that Rethink put together had over 1 million views. And Johnny's campaign wasn't just about talking about his story. It allowed him to discuss the issue of mental health and be a spokesperson for normalising and destigmatising mental health. It's incredible that The Sun, who had previously been campaigned against just in October of last year about their sensationalist front page, as you can see here, then went on to do a double-page spread of Johnny and his story in January. Now, here's 3 things that I think the campaign did really well. Firstly, it gave a face to the issue of mental health, and it engaged people through a personal story. It helps that Johnny was good-looking, articulate, and dispelled the stereotypes about schizophrenia just by talking about it. His story was personal and compelling. We see this every day on Change.org by people sharing their stories and using those stories to change their world. People engage more with stories than with facts and figures. We are, after all emotional human beings and not machines. Secondly, they kept it really simple. Who will find Mike? It was just about finding one person and meant it opened up the platform for other wider issues to be discussed. It offered a straightforward call to action and a way for people to become involved, as well as a possible reward. By sharing his story, would you be the one to help find Mike? It's a really great theory of change there as well, because by sharing on Facebook and Twitter and social media, you could help find him. And thirdly, and what I think Rethink did really well, was to put the person first and the brand second. Johnny was at the forefront throughout. It was his campaign. Rethink was supporting him. The branding was kept back. It took a while for people to realise that Rethink were behind it. It took me a long time, personally. But that was great because it made it even more genuine and compelling. And it allowed Rethink to comment on the broader issue of mental health. As their CEO said, every single person who shared Johnny's appeal has not only helped find Mike, or Neil, but has also helped to open up millions of conversations about mental health. We don't talk about these issues enough, but the more we do, the more we break down the stigma that surrounds them. So that's why I think it's such a fantastic campaign that I wish I'd been part of.